Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Elisa Ruffin with Leading Educators, and you are on the Grade 11 ELA lesson video series. We are in week 4, lesson 19. You've made it to another series of lessons related to a text here, and I'm so excited to get through this last activity with you all. I'm hoping that yesterday's activities went well. I know that you were more than prepared to engage them. Let's look at what you've accomplished so far this week. You've done a first read, annotations, and summary. You've done a close read, annotations, and identified the theme. You've created a meme or an image to reflect that theme. You've done some reading and analysis in response to questions. You've done some reflection. You've also looked at and evaluated the overall meaning of the title, charted the plot of the internal story, and done a reflection. That's a tall order, but you did it. All right, congratulations on that. Now, in addition to analyzing the craft and structure that you did yesterday, you are going to build on that and pick up your writer's pen and take an opportunity here to use some of maybe the strategies that you've learned about and employ them in your own writing. And that's going to come by way of creating an alternate ending with the story. And you're going to share that alternate ending with a family member, friend, or caregiver. Before we get into the details of that, though, we want to make sure to remember that when it's all said and done and your learning is complete for today by way of the activities, that you share what you learned with a family member, friend, or caregiver, that you use a page from the text to complete the weekly fluency activity, and do an additional 20 minutes of reading a day of a text of your choice. And the next order of business is our riddle of the day. It is time. It's the last one of the week. You guys have been building. Gather those people around who have been a part of this with you, or get your brain nice and warmed up so we can get started for today. All right, are you ready? Let's go. I have wings and I have a tail. Across the sky is where I sail. Yet I have no eyes, ears, or mouth, and I bob randomly north to south. What am I? What am I? So this is the moment where you can pause the video. It's a little bit longer than it typically is. Talk about it, read it again, debate it. Don't Google it. And here comes your spoiler. I have wings and I have a tail. Across the sky is where I sail. Yet I have no eyes, ears, or mouth, and I bob randomly from north to south. What am I? I'm a kite. All right. Wings, a tail, across the sky, sailing, yes. So it's not an animal, because at first glance it may seem that way. But we find out it has no ears, eyes, or mouth, so that eliminates that option. So now you really have to focus on the idea of wings and a tail and sailing across the sky. So another good one. I hope you enjoyed that. What is your tally of correct riddles so far, either personally or in the context of competition? All right. All right, now that we've gotten that together and we've gotten our brain going, let's look at our resources for today. You need everything stuck to him, the text. You need the learning packet, week 4, lesson 19 note catcher, pen or pencil, and again, mobile devices or smartphone, optional in case you want to access the text digitally. Final reminder about the background of the story, written by Raymond Carter, setting Milan, Italy around Christmas time. And as always, centered on our essential question today, what do stories reveal about the human condition? And specifically related to the text, what impact can age have on a relationship? So those are the questions you've been wrestling with throughout the entire series of lessons, and you've answered them, discussed them, engaged with them, and used them to help you clarify the overall meaning of the text. Today's learning targets. I can use the author's portrayal of the characters in the story to create an alternate ending to the story. So you're building on the learning targets from yesterday by honing in on the portrayal of characters in the story and using your knowledge about that to create an alternate ending. This should be a good one. The read, think, talk, write protocol still in full effect today. You're going to skim through the text again. You're going to reread specifically the last page of the story on page 786 as a part of your activity to get you set up for that. And then you're going to think about what you think the daughter was starting to say to her father before she changed the subject. So in that particular section of the text, which we will revisit, she starts to say something but doesn't. And so you're going to speculate a little bit about what you think she was going to bring up based on how the plot, both of the introductory story and the internal story, unfolds. Then you're going to engage in a conversation with a family member, friend, or caregiver about the last page of the story. And you're going to ask them based on their reading of the story. And at this point, you shared a summary with them and have had several conversations with them about the plots of the story. And you want to get them to weigh in. So you have your thoughts, you see what their thoughts are, and you guys are going to write those down in the note catcher. The next part is the right part of this particular activity. So based on your response from the talk section, you're going to rewrite the dialogue on that particular page of the story between the father and the daughter, keeping in mind that each of the characters have a certain motivation. So unpacking and uncovering, thinking through what that motivation may be. Why is the daughter bringing up the topic now? Is there anything that the father wants to say? Thinking in that direction will help you get some ideas, hopefully, and spark your creativity around what the dialogue could have been. And then once you complete that dialogue, you're going to share it with a family member, caregiver, or friend, especially since now they've read the original dialogue. Before you get started, though, I want to model some thinking for you as you think through how you might approach rewriting the dialogue in the story. So we are going to take a moment here, read the excerpt that contains the specific part of the dialogue that the right section has you examining, and the talk and think section has you thinking and talking about. Specifically lines 94 through 100. Let's read them together. He gets up from his chair and refills their glasses. That's it, he says. End of story. I admit it's not much of a story. I was interested, she says. He shrugs and carries his drink over to the window. It's dark now, but still snowing. Things change, he says. I don't know how they do, but they do without you realizing it or wanting them to. Yes, that's true, only... But she does not finish what she started. She drops the subject. In the window's reflection, he sees her study her nails. Then she raises her head. Speaking brightly, she asks if he is going to show her the city after all. So that's where the dialogue and the story ends. And you'll notice that specifically what can help you move in the right direction here. Things change, he says. I don't know how they do, but they do without your realizing it or wanting them to. And I've underlined this. First of all, you've wrestled with this particular quote in a previous lesson. So that, again, is providing the foundation for you to go a step further in connecting this phrase with examining the overall tone of the phrase. So the tone of this statement, for me, if I'm thinking about this, seems a little regretful. If I'm picturing it in my mind, I'm thinking of a person who's probably kind of staring off, thinking through the things that have happened in life that have changed. And maybe he didn't want them to and didn't realize they had until it had already happened. And by then it was too late. And there's a sense of regret. We don't know what the regret is. We can speculate. But it also makes me wonder a little bit more about what happened to the boy, girl, husband, wife's relationship, especially since now we know that the daughter in the story is the little baby from the internal story. So that's got me thinking. I've got an overall feeling here of a tone of regret. And if that's the case, then that makes me think, how would the young lady in the story who he's speaking to, his daughter, likely be responding to that sense of regret? What do you think she wanted to bring up? So, in the right section, based on your answer from the talk section, rewrite that dialogue we just went over between father and daughter. And keep in mind each of the characters' motivations. Why is the daughter bringing up the topic now? Is there anything the father wants to say? What I really want you to think through is focus on motivations. And we talked a little bit about this a few minutes ago. And one of the ways that can help you unearth or uncover the motivation is considering that tone. What are they thinking? What are the characters thinking on both sides of the dialogue here? And once you've thought through the tone in advance, that helps. Because if I believe that the tone is regretful, then my dialogue, the new dialogue that I create, may reflect the character's desire to right some wrongs, to clear the air, to get things out in the open. So that may change the whole trajectory of the conversation if the motivation here is, I have a feeling of regret, and it may have to do with the daughter in front of me or that daughter's mother. And if that's the case, then that is the foundation of my dialogue. So use your imagination, as always, when you're doing a rewrite or an alternate ending, but anchor that imagination in evidence from the text that would help push and inspire you in that direction. Once you're done with that, your close for today is to share that newly written dialogue with a family member, caregiver, or friend so they can marvel at your brilliance and your creativity, because I know they will. If you have any questions as you engage in the activity for today, pause, replay as many times as you need, and if you get stuck, reach out to a teacher for support using information provided. Well, we've come to the end of this lesson, and remember that when you're done with these activities for today, that you need to, already you've done the sharing of your learning, but complete the weekly fluency activity with a page from the text, and do an additional 20 minutes of reading from a story of your choice or a book of your choice, and enjoy that. And we've reached the end of another text. Bravo, ladies and gentlemen. You've done a great job hanging in there. You've continued to expand your skill and your critical thinking. You've honed in on your writing. You've taken your artistry for a spin. You've done a lot, so you deserve a break. Take that break, enjoy it. Remember to do those ending activities there. And I will see you back for another text next time.